Hello, guys. So, people are always asking me whether I like the Boston Brace or the Rigo Cheaneau better because I have worn both of them. And so, obviously, the answer is that it depends on you and what you can and cannot do and all that stuff. But I'm going to talk you through some of the decisions you might need to make when deciding which one you want to use. So, the first thing is money. So, the Boston Brace has been used since the 70s. A lot of people have worn it. It's been pretty much proven by scientists. So insurances are more likely to cover a Boston Brace than a Rigo Cheaneau. If you want to get a Rigo Cheaneau and you cost is not an object, that might work better. However, if cost is more of an object to you, then maybe the Boston Brace might be a better choice. And the second thing, kind of tying into this, is location. Again, the Boston Brace has been used for decades, and it has been proven by a lot of scientists, while the Rigo Cheaneau is still has a lot of great research supporting it, but has not had as much experience as the Boston Brace. So the Boston Brace, my Boston Brace was made 15 minutes at an office 15 minutes away from my home. When I wore a Rigo Cheaneau, I had to go to Long Island and I had to miss school days for it. So if you can do that, if you have the time and the energy to travel, or if you live really nearby, wherever your Rigo is made, then go for it. If not, maybe think about the Boston Brace. So this one is it's not a reason to not wear a brace because obviously we don't want to wear a brace. We had to. But something is cosmetics. Alright, so this is the Rigo Cheaneau brace. It's a very small one. And if you look inside of it, you can kind of see that it's really asymmetrical. So it's kind of pushing in places, and it kind of comes off. You can't see it because it's not on me because it's too small. But you can kind of see, if you can imagine an 8-year-old body in here, you can see that this comes up off the back. So it was a little bit harder for me to dress also with this thing. It was harder for me to find clothes that minimize the look of my brace because I didn't like the way the back looked. So once I outgrew it, I went back to a Boston Brace. Meanwhile, as you can see with the Boston Brace, it's more symmetrical on the inside, and I found it just a little bit easier to dress with. And another thing is the degree of your curve. If you have a very large curve, the Boston Brace studies have not shown, it doesn't mean that it won't, studies have not shown the Boston Brace to be effective with curves over 40 degrees, as you've probably heard your orthotist say about bracing and surgery and things like that. However, the Rigo Cheaneau has been often more successful with treating larger curves in smaller patients, although it is not a substitute for surgery. It can often prolong it during growth. So if you have like a 40 or 50 degree curve, and you're thinking about a Rigo Cheaneau versus if you have a 20 or 30 degree curve, that just might be thinking what you're willing to put into it. And of course, there's the question of physical therapy. Are you doing the Schroth method? Because the Rigo Cheaneau is shown to be most effective with the Schroth method, and the Boston Brace can be used with various different ones. So if you're committed to the Schroth method and you want to continue doing the Schroth method and you're willing to wear a Rigo Cheaneau brace, then that's great and you might want to go for that. But if you're doing another type of physical therapy or no physical therapy at all, the Boston Brace might be a better... The Rigo Cheaneau and the Boston Brace work differently, so you might want to think about the Boston Brace if you're not planning on keeping with the Schroth method or another physical therapy regime. And there's a problem, a lot of people like having the straps in the front. While that was nice, I didn't really have a problem doing the straps in the back, and that's because I am hypermobile. And hypermobility sounds like a good thing, but it's actually a really bad thing. It's actually believed to be the reason that I have scoliosis. But if you can reach your straps with a Boston Brace, or if you go for a consultation, ask if you can try a brace on, because then you'll see how it fits around you and how you get it on you. And if you can do the straps on a Boston Brace, you're most likely going to be able to do that. And if there are other reasons that you can that you would prefer the Boston brace, then that might be a better option. But if you need straps in the front, then you might want to think about the Rigo Cheaneau. And the last thing is, what are you going to be willing to wear? What are you going to be willing to do? You have to think about all these things, and like, chances are, if you're still growing, it's not going to be your last trip to the orthotist. I had to go every 6 weeks to get adjustments made or to get it checked out. And for the Rigo Cheaneau, that was kind of a hassle because they only were open during weekdays and during school, and it was just really hard to get there, and I did not like it. And I also had other reasons too. I also didn't find my Rigo. Some people say the Rigo is very comfortable. I personally just didn't like that instead of padding like the Boston brace had, it was just plastic pushing on me. And I wasn't committed to the Schoth method. So for me, the Boston brace was a better option. But if you have a hard time doing the straps in the back, if you have a large curve, I know I might not be the best example of any type of brace because my curve went from 17 degrees to 45 degrees while I was braced, but in any event, you're going to have to think about what you're willing to do. How much effort are you willing to put into getting to appointments? Is your family financially stable enough to commit to a more expensive brace, or would it be better if you had one that more insurances will cover? You really have to think about all these things because, like, there's no one right answer. What worked for me might not work for you, and while we're on this subject, I consider my bracing to be a success, even though at first I wasn't in a very good brace. I really do think that the Boston brace helped me, and I know that my curve wouldn't be any smaller without it, so I consider it successful. So that's what I have to say about that subject. I really never really know what to say to people about this because I feel like they think that my answers are the be-all and end-all because I'm a Curvy Girl chapter leader, but that's not how it is. I don't know what's going to work for you, and nobody really does. You just have to try things, think about what's going to work best for you, and try for the best. And the most important thing is to remember to be committed to bracing. Wear your brace. Make sure that if you're going to make a financial and time investment into something that you're going to follow through with it. If you're not, then, you're going to have to deal with whatever may happen because of that. And it's true that your curve may not progress. I don't know how this turned into a motivational talk about bracing. It just did. But it is important to wear your brace, and that's going to factor into it. Like, I wore my brace compliantly without blinking an eye, and I know that's really hard for some people. For some reason, I just adjusted better than a lot of people do. It can be really, really hard to wear your brace the number of hours you're supposed to. And if you're going to put in so much time and effort for something, you have to make sure that you're willing to do it. Anyway, that's it for my, emotional talk and stuff about bracing. I hope this helped you, and just do what feels right. That's all I can say. Alright, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.